Welcome to Community Talk, a public affairs presentation of the MSA United Way and Super Talk 1270. Now your host, Jenna Gullo.
Good morning and welcome to United Way's Community Talk. This is not Jenna Gullo, but actually Amanda Schwieters, the marketing manager.
Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning, and Jim is here with me this morning while Jenna is running from one part of town to the other in a mad dash from meeting to meeting.
She is a very busy lady.
She is a busy lady.
Yeah.
We fill her calendar full of lots of presentations this time of year. A lot of people that are just inquiring about exactly what United Way does in the community and where those funds go. So right now is our campaign season. It kind of kicks off in September and runs until our big event in January, our annual luncheon. And so she is running around at multiple businesses, stopping in to make sure that we inform everybody exactly what United Way is, what we do in the community, and the agencies that we fund as well. And so one of those big things that we are doing right now, campaign season, is really just informing a lot of people about United Way's emergency homeless shelter. We had recognized that when we were doing these presentations that a lot of people weren't aware that we actually run the only emergency homeless shelter in the community. And so we've been really just informing a lot of people about that situation, that we don't actually own the building, but we lease 14 rooms. And we are able to house up to 68 men, women, and children. And I would just like to say, welcome to Jenna Gullo.
Hello, Amanda Schwieters. You do such a nice job. I don't even think I need to be here.
No, you need to be here.
No, I don't think so, actually. It has been a crazy campaign season.
I know.
And we're trying to raise money for that homeless shelter. My God. Just really hitting it hard because people don't even realize we're running it. Not just raising money for it. And so, I just actually came from a meeting trying to find some funding and help to keep it open because our community really needs a shelter. Let's be honest.
I was informing our listeners of that because we like to fill your calendar full and don't give you much time to commute from one meeting to the next. And so,
you know why, though? The thing is this: we have such a small staff at our United Way. And I think it's a good thing and it's a bad thing because we do so much. When people talk about this myth that exists that United Way has high administrative expenses, give me a break. There's so many of us that, Amanda, you're there, so many late hours. And you really, just because you're working for a charity doesn't mean that, you should have to dedicate your entire existence to it.
That's because I love it.
I know, but we do love what we do. So part of what we're doing is we're feeding 1,153 kids on the weekend so they don't go hungry. We run that program. We don't just fund it. We run it. Madison Burbach is our coordinator. So if you want to sponsor that or help pack and deliver the bags, we're always needing help, especially with that many bags and we have 30, 40 elementary schools in Bismarck, Mandan.
We've increased to 36 schools, so we definitely need the help with that.
Yeah, or if you want to volunteer, we do meals at our homeless shelter. And normally it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but during the holiday times, the banquet closes. And we rely on the banquet for Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday meals. So if you want to fill in on the days that the banquet is closed around the holidays, please let us know. Call our office and we'll get you signed up. It's just an awesome experience.
And Madison also coordinates the schedule for that. So I think December is actually booked out, but into the new year, if you're looking for rewarding and eye-opening experience, I would definitely go and volunteer at the shelter.
I'm not positive about the days right before that the banquets close, because that means we would be doing meals 7 days a week for those days. Sure. And so there probably are opportunities. So please call our office and let us know. And I know Jim and Cindy from J&R Vacuum, they are amazing. And so I know that they're willing to pitch in because they're regularly helping with the banquet as well. And so I know that they'll be there if we can't find anyone, but it'd be really neat to not just put it all on them either.
Yeah.
So it's campaign season. So part of my job is getting out and speaking to employees and departments and different groups. And no matter how big or small you are, invite us out. We'll talk for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes at a staff meeting, whatever you need, but just telling people about what some of the gaps are in our community and how United Way is working to fill them. It's an experience an opportunity for your employees to experience how to give back. And a lot of people want to, but don't know where to and how their money is used. So that's what we're here for.
And that you brought up a good point about the camping season, and people don't really know where the money goes and how it's used. A really, really important point to make is that money all does stay local here in Bismarck, Mandan. I think a lot of times people think that it's a lot like some other companies and it funnels out and then comes back and trickles down to us, but it actually stays here at United Way locally to the agencies that we partner and the programs that we run, like our backpack program and the shelter.
Yeah. One of our donors, or it's a new donor to us, just gave us a gift of stock. And so that's a really neat way to, be able to give back. And a lot of times there's people at the end of the year that are looking for a tax credit or figuring out, what their taxes are going to be and deductions. And so if you give $5,000 or more to our United Way Endowment Fund, you qualify for a 40% North Dakota tax credit. So your gift of $5,000 ends up costing you, $1,500, $1,600, depending on your tax bracket. So talk with your accountant, know that the money stays local, and know that we're really investing it wisely on your behalf.
Yeah, it's a great program to utilize.
And people can designate, if you want to, let's say you don't want to do the endowment, but you want to do scholarships for the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts. 100% of your money goes to scholarships for the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. Or let's say you want to focus on prevention. Well, 75% of what we do at United Way really prevents a lot of these issues like hunger and homelessness from occurring in the first place. So we have multiple programs that focus on building up youth in our community and getting them those protective qualities so that they're making the right choices.
Real quick, why would you, if someone was like, if I wanted to donate to Boy Scouts, why don't I just donate to them? Why would I designate my funds to United Way to designate to them?
Well, we don't have too long to answer this question, but the shortened version is because United Way has this really robust process for determining what the needs are in the community. We do a needs assessment every 3 years. We have about 50 volunteers that are saying, okay, A, B, and C are the biggest needs. And so to give through United Way, that it's an agency that we're holding accountable and that's reporting to us quarterly, and that it is a quality program. And if there are things that could be improved with the program, that we're working directly with that director and their board of directors to be able to make those changes. So we are going to be coming back in just a couple minutes. We are going to be talking with a really cool guy, Pastor Kermit Culver. Many of you may know him, and he's just going to be great. He's going to share his infinite wisdom with us.
Right now, 31.
Dave Ramsey is heard here. Super Talk 1270.
Welcome back to United Way's Community Talk. I'm Jenna Gullah, the Executive Director of United Way, inviting you to our annual luncheon. So reserve the date, mark your calendar. It's not until January 31st, but it's a community-wide event from 11:30 to 1, and we need you there. And my co-host today, Amanda Schwieters, is one coordinating all of it.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Please come to our annual meeting and luncheon. You'll want to be there. It's an awesome opportunity to just learn a lot more about what exactly United Way does, learn a little bit about our partner agencies, where the money goes locally, and then we always cover a lot of success stories and kind of just enlighten people on what's kind of going on in our backyards. So I highly encourage everyone to come. It's January 31st, but it'll be here before you know it. And it's only $20 as an individual. So it's really not a fundraiser. We just cover the cost of the meal, and it's a great opportunity for you to learn more. And if your business is interested in sponsoring a table, we also do have table sponsorships available as well. So you can kind of bring out the whole staff and everybody can kind of learn together.
Yeah, what's really neat about our partnerships at United Way is that it's not just about the nonprofit community. We really try to bring people together from the business community, the public sector, and the faith community. And one of our incredible partners this year, we are truly blessed in more ways than one, is, can I call you Pastor Kermit? Culver?
Sure, either whatever.
Because that's what I call you, but
you
I
just
see
call me
it
Kermit too.
on your bio here. It just says Kermit.
Yeah, that's good. That's fine.
So Pastor Kermit Culver is the district superintendent of the Northwest District of the Dakotas annual conference. And so thank you for being with us and for everything you do, not just for United Way, which is significant this year, but for our community. You're this calming force, Kermit. You really are.
Thanks.
Has anyone ever said that to you? I mean, honest to God, you are this calming force. You so much bring people together, and you really solve problems and do something. You take action. You don't just talk about them. So thanks.
Well, thank you. Thanks for the invitation to be here, for Amanda putting this together, and for you having me here. So I'm delighted to be here and share with you and visit with you about whatever. Yeah.
I appreciate it. So this is the thing. My mom
Yep.
listens to me in Western New York.
Hey,
so,
Mom.
Hi, Mom. So she's tuning in. She texted me that she's tuning in. So tell my mother and the thousands, hundreds of thousands of listeners out there a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Thanks. Oh, well, hey, Mom. My name's Kermit, and I'm originally from South Dakota. I've been a pastor for about 40 years now. I started when I was 11. That's why, I look really young. No, not really.
You do look young. 40 years.
Yeah. Anyway, I've been in Bismarck for 22 years, and 20 of those years, I was the lead pastor at what was originally First United Methodist Church.
Right.
That in 2010, we changed our name to Legacy United Methodist Church. And then in 2013.
Where was that originally located?
Originally, it was on 11th and Avenue C, right south of the old, the old Baptist home. Yeah. So we were downtown there, kind of landlocked, and outgrew that space. And so built a new facility up on the north end of town in 2013.
Well, and that's kind of glossing over a lot, because that new facility is magnificent.
Yeah, it's great.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great. We've got
really cool.
It's a bunch of faithful folks there. We don't have a lot of rich people, which is that's fine. But churches that do, but we just had people that were really faithful and really saw a need to sort of reach a different demographic of folks that we had been able to reach downtown.
What demographic?
Well, particularly when we were downtown, we were primarily reaching 30-year-olds with kids.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then when we moved up north, we started to sort of survey the folks that were coming and joining, et cetera. And we realized that up there we're reaching 40-year-olds, but their kids are the same age, which was interesting because they were probably waiting to have kids longer. So they were maybe completing educations or starting careers or whatever. So it's still the same basic demographic, but I really believe
that's young.
Yeah.
Really, compared to most churches that are aging out.
Yes, and they are, unfortunately. And
Right.
I deal with a lot of them in my work around the state that are aging out. And some of that's natural. Some of it just happens because of the demographics of their community. Sometimes it's an unintended consequence of choices that they've made to not continue to. I have this theory that every church is dying except those that choose to live. And when a church doesn't make that choice, then they just naturally die. And that's true of big churches and little churches. Big churches just longer till the funeral. That's all.
But it's really interesting. So what are some choices that you made at Legacy and they continue to make that engage people and get them there every week?
Yeah. Well, part of it is simply to be relevant to the target or to the audience that you're trying to reach, and trying to create some sort of balance between the people that you're trying to reach and the people you're trying to keep, which is a hard balance. And most churches get out of balance and spend all of their time, energy, and money on people they're trying to keep and keep happy, and neglect those that they're trying to reach. And so that's in a nutshell, the basic choice that we made was to say, we have this community, in the community of Bismarck, which is just say 100,000 people. I'll bet there were less than 30,000 people in church Sunday. Okay, so there's a large group of folks in this community that need Jesus, and so we made a choice to say, we're not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We're just going to try to create some balance. And because of that choice, that involved worship style, ministry style, becoming more hands-on. If your target's 30 and 40-year-olds, instead of 50, 60, and 70-year-olds who have more money than they do energy, these younger folks have more energy than they do money. And so creating opportunities for them to be involved in hands-on kind of things. Particularly our choice was to focus our ministry on children, because kids don't come alone. They usually bring their parents. And so those were some of the choices that we made.
It's so interesting how strategic it really takes to run a church, but a church really, at the end of the day, it's a business. I mean, it's a business with a great goal in mind, but you need to do more than,
It's a business that's not necessarily governed by business values, but it is a business, Well,
and too bad more businesses aren't governed by those values, right?
Yeah, that's true. Well, it's too bad there are a lot of churches that aren't either, but
that is true as well.
Yeah.
I have a meeting this afternoon, and I'll let that denomination remain nameless, but one of the parishioners, am I giving it away by using that word, parishioner?
No, not
one of the parishioners said, don't expect much out of your meeting today. I mean, how frustrating is that? And I get they're building a new building and a new school and a new, et cetera, but what about the poor in our community?
Exactly.
What about the reason, what Jesus is really, right? His example and how we should be treating others.
Well, kind of how we sold that, at least initially. When I got there, 96, they were a very mission-minded church in their own minds, and that sort of meant for them sending money to missionaries. And for us, it was a strategic change to say, let's continue to do that, but let's create some opportunities for people to actually do some stuff. And the reason how I tried to sell it with the folks is that there are so many agencies in Bismarck. I believe there's over 100 helping agencies in the Bismarck community. And in many of them, not all, but many of them are doing exactly what the churches are called to do and what Christians are called to do. And so instead of us assuming that we know better how to do all these things, like run a homeless shelter or whatever, let's just support the people that are doing what we're called and supposed to be doing. And I know that's counterintuitive for some, but I don't think it is for Jesus. I think that's what he expects of us. So.
Well, and you had a brilliant idea almost, 10 years ago?
Yeah, 10 years ago.
And
I don't know if it was brilliant, but it was 10 years ago. Yeah.
I think it's brilliant. And so tell us a little bit about how that came to you. And your thoughts on that.
Well, I have a friend that's a pastor in Ohio that had done this Christmas event thing. He preached a series of sermons called Christmas is Not Your Birthday. And he challenged the folks to have half a Christmas, to figure out how much money they spent on gifts and travel and food and whatever, and make a choice to spend half that much and give the other half in a one-time Christmas Eve offering for some project that he had designated was in Rwanda. His church in Ohio has basically adopted the country of Rwanda and made an amazing difference there. Anyway, we were about 10 or 90% smaller than they were. So we made a decision, or I made a decision, to try this Christmas, have a half a Christmas idea. And it was a huge success. And at that time we were supporting the Ruth Myers Hospitality House. And so we knew that they were kind of doing the front line, and they were the point of entry at that time in the community for folks that were coming to the community. And so we partnered with them, and that first year our goal was to raise $25,000, which was a lot of money for a small group of folks, and we exceeded our goal and raised $27,500. Wow. And to date, I think First Church Legacy has donated somewhere around $400,000 through the Christmas Eve Challenge. And to your friends that you're going to visit with this afternoon, we were building the building at the same time.
No kidding.
Yeah, we were raising money to build this new building.
Amazing.
While we were giving all this money away, which also seems counterintuitive. But I really don't think it is.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That
is amazing. And honestly, without your support, I don't think our community would be able to serve the homeless. And that's what your vision was, right?
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
what your calling for that opportunity was,
right.
to really serve the homeless. And so, yeah, huge for the Bismarck-Mandan community,
Well,
and we do have a homeless population
We do,
here.
and it's a small slice, I think, of the larger community, but it's not insignificant. I'm not trying to downplay its significance, but it was an easy decision, and it was an easy project, and I wish other churches and other agencies would entertain that thought or that idea to challenge people. Sometimes people do what you ask them to do. They don't always.
That is so true.
And
right?
I think that
Fundraising 101.
absolutely. Sometimes they'll give you money. And so anyway, and then I think setting a goal was also significant. I think having people respond better to something that, even though they thought I was nuts when I told them the goal. So
Well,
anyway.
in this year, because United Way is running the homeless shelter now,
Yeah.
Legacy is doing half a Christmas for our United Way homeless shelter. So thank you for your help in that. We'll be back. We've got so much more to talk with Kermit about, and he's so engaging. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Right now, 31.
The Red River Farm Network. Ag News is here on Super Talk 1270.
Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. You're listening to United Way's Community Talk, and a special thank you to Town Square Media, Jim Walsh, Super Talk 1270 is amazing for donating this airtime. You can find us here every other Tuesday from 11 to noon. So co-hosting with me is Amanda Schwieters, and she runs the whole thing here.
I don't know about
Community
the
Talk.
whole thing.
Well,
I'm
I
not gonna
think
take solid
you
credit
do,
for
and I
that.
appreciate you, Amanda. You're just amazing, and everything you're doing. But you do need help with some gift giving,
I
right?
do. Yes, we have our Giving Tree program, which typically all of the tags are out and fulfilled and back in our office by now. But we did have a second call out just because there was a really large demand of last minute requests of kiddos that are in our backpack program. They're with partner agencies that otherwise are not going to be receiving gifts. And a lot of the items that they're asking for are necessities. Their clothing, their boots, winter gloves, and then they have a few toy requests. So we have a handful of kiddos that are still left that need to be sponsored. So if you are interested in sponsoring a child or a few children, please contact United Way at 255-3601. You can ask for me, Amanda, or anyone in the office, and we will give you a tag that has their age, gender, clothing size, if they're asking for that, in their wish list. So yes, please contact us. We still have a few that we would really, really love to be able to fulfill.
Yeah, and a special thank you to Dakota Community Bank and Trust, because they generously offered to get every person at our homeless shelter a stocking filled with lots of goodies, and they're actually using a winter hat instead of a stocking, which is I think
awesome.
pretty neat. And when we gave them the numbers, we only had about 40 people at our shelter. Well, now we're over 50. So if we have people that want to do one or more stockings for men, women, or children, please drop them off at our main United Way office. We're located at 515 North 4th Street in Bismarck. So, okay, I'm so excited for our guest. We've been talking with Pastor Kermit Culver, and I just really enjoy you, Kermit, and enjoy just all the ideas and inspiration that you've provided to so many community members. And I mean that sincerely, because you're pretty cool. You are. You got it going on. And so, we were just talking about your idea that you started 10 years ago to support the homeless in our community, called Half a Christmas. And this year you're helping United Way with that through Legacy. And it's all going to help our homeless shelter.
Yep.
So thank you for that. But secondly, how'd the people respond? Because I just was thinking, gosh, you had a small church. You set a goal of an offering at $25,000. You well over exceeded that. So what was it like that first year or so?
Well, it was scary going into it because I had no idea. The most money they'd ever raised at any one time that I could find record was $22,000 just for some carpet or something. And so I thought, let's see if they're willing to give money away instead of giving it to themselves, in a sense. And so the other thing is the most they'd ever raised at Christmas Eve was about $2,500. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so I wanted to set the goal high enough that they would know that they had to depend on God in order to get that. And they did. They bought it. And so they but I didn't know. I mean, it's 2 weeks out, and I'm like, I don't know if we're gonna be able to do this. And one Sunday morning, 2 weeks before Christmas Eve, at the end of the service, I'm standing in the line, and 2 different guys came out and handed me a check and said, "We're not going to be here Christmas Eve, but we want to be a part of this."
Wow.
And I just put it in my pocket, and then later looked at it, and they were both for $500, and I'm like, "Holy cow, this could really happen." And so. Anyway, that happened the next Sunday, and then we met our goal. But the thing that was really cool about it was I think $1,000 was the largest gift that we got from any one person, but we got a lot of $100, $200 gifts from a lot of different particularly young families, and many of whom came to me and said, "Thank you for creating this vehicle or this mechanism for us to be able to have conversation with our kids and our parents and grandparents about what Christmas means," because kids just get bombed with stuff at Christmas, particularly families that have been separated or divorced and they've got multiple grandparents and they all just, it's whatever. I don't fault them, but it was just they were appreciative of the opportunity to talk to their kids about Christmas in a different way, that it's doing something for somebody that may have less than we have. And so it worked, and I want to be clear that I'm not the pastor at Legacy anymore. Brandon Vetter is the pastor there. I quit that job. No, I didn't quit. I didn't get fired either. I didn't get a promotion either. I was sentenced to a new call.
Sentenced to a new call.
Whatever that is.
Hysterical.
I'm not the pastor there, but
I'm gonna use that.
Yeah, go ahead. They have continued this tradition, and I think have done remarkably well. Even after I've gone, they've continued. And you mentioned Dale Paulke at the Dakota Community Bank. He's a friend of mine and ours at the church, and he's been so gracious and so generous in so many ways. And I know he does this all across the community. And anyway, we all just appreciate Dale and his faithful generosity. So.
Yeah, Dale and Cindy are our camping co-chairs this year.
Yeah.
And they are just
Aren't they great?
Awesome duo.
Yep.
And the thing is, they've been doing a ton of work.
Have they?
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me either. Actually, it did actually surprise me because I thought, we'll get, maybe be able to use their name on some letters, and he'll come to a couple meetings or whatnot. But he's been opening up a lot of doors. But even more so than that, he has come down to our emergency homeless shelter at United Way numerous times and has volunteered, and so has Cindy. Yeah. And it's just really cool because I think when people walk into the shelter, they serve the poor. It's so eye-opening to them, especially in a community like Bismarck.
Yep.
And and I think, when we talk about the season of giving, the meaning of Christmas really gets lost sometimes.
It does in some ways. It gets obscured with sort of our commercialism. And I understand it. I don't fault the retail world. I was visiting last night with the owner of the Rainbow Shop, the Christian bookstore in town. And he was talking about, that this is their time of year when they'll make probably more than half of their annual money. I don't know if it's half, but he was just saying they make a lot of their money during this time. So I don't fault the retail world. And I don't really fault the people. We just kind of get lost and lose sight of the meaning. And, and it's not about saying Merry Christmas instead of Happy Holidays. That's not the issue. The issue is, I think God has hardwired us as human beings to be generous. And I know that some people have differing amounts of that giftedness, if you want to call it that. But I think it's in every one of us, from the poorest to the wealthiest. And per capita, I think we all know that the poor probably give more than the wealthy do. But it's important for us at this time of year specifically and particularly to remember that God has created us to be givers because God's a giver. He gave his son. That's an amazing gift that does get lost at Christmas. And so to be able to recapture or to help people reconnect with that original idea that God has hardwired us to be generous, I think is, if there's any gift that I could give to the folks listening today, it would be that, is to, just remember how much you've been given and then give accordingly.
And what would you say to the people who are going through tough times? big or small, whether it's, minor surgery to, death or, bad relationships, or maybe it's just not even getting along with your spouse, What do you say? Or people, suffering from depression, especially during the holiday season.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It is a tough time of year because it also brings up memories, and for some folks, it's not always a good memory. I guess the thing I would say more than anything else is you're not alone. And I don't care how alone you might be. You're not alone. God is with you. The Holy Spirit inhabits all of us, and we are not alone. And we could be, and the other thing I guess I would say is don't be afraid to ask for help. There are people and places that want to help and sometimes don't know how. I remember in our early years when I was in grad school, we didn't have any money at all, and we were on the WIC program, and it was sort of embarrassing. And I had a mentor of mine say, "Just remember, you're going to pay taxes the rest of your life, and so at this point in your life, receive this as a gift, and don't be ashamed or embarrassed or afraid to ask for help." And I would say that for any folks that are in crisis in their marriage or depressed or lonely or whatever it is, there are people and places that are willing to help. But if we don't know how to help or who to help, then it's really up to the recipient. And that might be a burden too big to bear for some, but I would encourage folks to remember you're not alone and don't be afraid to ask for help.
Mm-hmm. And, it's pretty amazing, too, how appreciative, respectful, and generous the poor
really are
in our community.
Yep.
So we invite...
No question.
Yeah. Thank you for your idea of Half a Christmas. We challenge the community to bring that to your faith community or your office.
Or your organization, whatever it is. Yeah,
your
anybody.
business,
it doesn't have to be a church,
and to help the poor. We need your help to keep this homeless shelter open for our community. It's not something United Way was intending on doing or planned on doing or has a long-term budget for. We really are relying on the community to step up. We'll do the work, but we do need your help. So come volunteer or give. Go to msaunitedway.org. Thank you so much, Pastor Kermit.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Love you.
Thank you.
Right now, 35.
Here's Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons on Super Talk 1270.
Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. We've had a really great show today. I'm Jenna Gullo, the Executive Director of the Missouri Slope Area-Wide United Way. Co-hosting with me, Amanda Schwieters, our Marketing Manager and person extraordinaire, basically.
Aw,
I'm going to get you new business cards. That says that. So, Amanda, what's up? What's going on at the UW?
We've got a lot going on. We had just covered in our last segment the Giving Tree program, but I'll put a quick plug for that. If you have a little extra funds to sponsor a kiddo in need, we have a couple more Giving Tree tags that are available and kids that need some Christmas gifts. So we have that available. We also have another option for holiday giving is we have this wonderful holiday brochure that lays out a couple different ideas. If you're wanting to give a meaningful gift that will make a really big impact for yourself, for the individual that you're giving it to, and the recipient that's receiving that, it's a wonderful way to give. A lot of us, we were just talking about too in the last segment with Pastor Kermit Culver, that sometimes you get inundated with things and we all love to receive and we all love getting gifts, but sometimes we don't need any more material items, and so gifting something on behalf of someone else is a great option. And so you can go on our holiday brochure. It's online at msaunitedway.org, and you can sponsor. You can sponsor one night of shelter for an individual in crisis is $27, and you'll receive a personalized holiday card that you can send to the individual you're gifting that on behalf of.
Yeah, you know what? They make really good stocking stuffers. They're extremely thoughtful. And, it's along the lines of what Pastor Kermit was saying is how much money are we spending in the retail world nowadays when it comes to Christmas? And when you look at your travel, you look at the cost for food and all the gifts that you're buying, why not have your funds go back into the community and be able to use that as your gift. So I remember one year for Christmas, I sponsored children in another country for each of my nieces and nephews, and then gave them this big certificate and an envelope, and that was one of their gifts. And you know what? It really made them think, oh, wow, there's really people in need, and how can I help and be a part of this? Well, that's what we're doing at United Way, is we're allowing you to spread the cheer and really put your dollars where they're most needed. And so, for example, you can fight illiteracy, and that's only a gift of $25. So we give you a card, this beautiful Christmas card with the child's face on the front of someone that you sponsored, and you write out, oh, Amanda, here's my gift to you. And so in your name, I sponsored a child for a year to receive free books in the mail every single month. And
That's
it's to fight illiteracy, because kids are 4 times more likely to drop out of school if they're not reading by grade 4.
Yeah. And we have a lot of kids that we cover in the community. Do you know how many?
Yeah, it's like over 4,000 preschoolers in Bismarck-Mandan. And then we cover a lot of rural communities as well. And we're always looking for sponsorships, no matter how big or small, for the Imagination Library. It's for any income level, and most parents will pay for their own child. But there's a large portion of people who are lower income, and it's so important for them to have books in the home, because only 61% of low-income kids do have books in the home. And, we do have this great library, but how are they going to get there when their parents are working 2 or 3 jobs, or they have a single mom? So another good gift that you can give this holiday season is to provide a container of healthy snacks. And this is for a teacher at one of our low-income schools, because it really helps to keep kids' minds sharp. It helps them focus. It helps them, really, hunger is a main cause of why kids can't concentrate and are pulled out of the classroom or have behavioral issues. And so a lot of times teachers are paying out of pocket to make sure every child in their classroom has a snack. So that money can go directly to them.
It's a great gift to give.
Yeah, or feed local families $30 by making sure that a family of 4 has 3 meals a day. Just huge. Providing a family of 4, a homeless family, a night in our shelter, $108. That's what it costs us to be able to keep the lights on, keep it warm and safe, and make sure they get the counseling services they need, get linked to other services so that they get out of homelessness. So the really cool thing is we have these cards at our office. You can personalize them and use them as your gift. And you can shop online. So go to msaunitedway.org/gift and do your holiday shopping there. But what about when people are shopping online at Amazon?
Ooh, the Amazon Smile. Has anyone heard of smileamazon.com?
Well, my boyfriend has, because for a full year I said, did you buy it on Smile? Did you buy it on Smile? Whenever he would order anything. So now he's conditioned. Instead of going to Amazon.com, go to smile.amazon.com. It automatically pulls up
your account.
Yeah,
it's an amazing program. It's just, so I had never heard about it until I started at United Way, and it's a great way to give back to a nonprofit, and you don't pay any extra for it. So you have an Amazon account already. It links to that. You just have to put in the different URL. And so you can shop, and then I think it depends. Sometimes they'll match higher, but it's usually like a small percentage, about 1 or 0.5%, that they will gift back to the organization of your choice. So I would highly encourage anyone that does do online shopping on Amazon to use that, and then you would just search Missouri Slope Area-Wide United Way, and that percentage of proceeds will go back to us. And it's a great way to give, and you don't even know you're doing it.
Yeah, it adds up. So you just pick Missouri Slope Area-Wide United Way. I know we have a long name, but that's what you need to search. You pick us once, and then every time you go to smile.amazon.com, you just go ahead with your shopping, and we get a cut. So pretty simple, which is neat. It doesn't cost you any more time or any more dollars. So this is the deal. It wasn't this Friday. It was last Friday. I was at the hospital and visiting a homeless client. She just had a baby, and it was sad. I mean, she didn't have any other visitors there, which is why I went. It was late on a Friday night because I had to be at the shelter earlier and obviously had a full day of work. And so I walked in and there's this beautiful, beautiful baby girl, healthy baby girl. And so I was holding her, and then the mom held her, and the mom started crying because she had made the decision, and I knew about the decision, but had made the courageous decision to give the baby up for adoption. And it's a hard decision.
It would be such a hard decision.
I mean, even if you know you can't financially provide or emotionally or spiritually provide for that child, you feel, I can only imagine how you feel. I mean, she was crying, and we were talking about the family that the mom was able to pick out for her daughter. And she said, Jenna, one of the most important things to me is that it went to a Christian family so that my baby daughter, my baby girl, learns about forgiveness. Ugh.
How powerful.
Yeah, really powerful. And I said, I won't say the name of the client, but I said, you write this daughter a letter and you tell her why you're making this decision, because this is the most courageous decision you could make. And this is in the best interest of this baby. Because it's a long story, but this mom couldn't provide a stable home. Not now, or not even, probably 3-5 years from now. Or in the nurturing environment, and that she knew that this family adopting her could. So anyway, so the mom was discharged, came back into our homeless shelter, and we're looking to the future for her. What is it that she wants to do? She wants to enroll in college and wants to get back into counseling and wants to stop drinking, all of these things. And so that's what we're going to help her do. That's part of her journey. And it's just yet another reason to say, I want to be a part of this. I want to give. I want to help, whether it's volunteering at our shelter, giving money, whatever you can afford, we need.
I think that story, too, is a great example of the challenges the individuals that we assist on a daily basis those decisions they have to make that nobody can think about. Like, it's so easy for us to be like, oh, like, we know everyone's story and it's all the same. And that's a perfect example as, like, you just don't know what they're going through, the choices they have to make, the decisions they have to make. And that's why it's so important that our shelter's there assisting them and connecting them to these resources to get them on their feet.
And, since we started helping the homeless on October 27th of 2017, and by that I mean United Way meeting with the homeless and sheltering them every night for the last year, we've had 6 women who were pregnant and gave birth to newborn babies while they were residing at our homeless shelter. So the need is huge. We've helped nearly 500 people in the last year, and we're trying so hard to get these folks into permanent housing. So give. United Way's homeless shelter and all of our wonderful programs, go to msaunitedway.org. Thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate your help.